Reading through the Bible in a year, May 28th, Deuteronomy chapter 1, Psalms 81 through 82, Isaiah 29, and 3 John. Let's go and read the introduction. Deuteronomy, which means second law, is a retelling by Moses of the teachings and events of Exodus, Leviticus, and Numbers. It includes an extended review of the Ten Commandments and Moses' farewell address to a new generation of Israelites as they stand ready to take possession of the Promised Land. Moses reminds them of God's faithfulness and love, but also of God's wrath on the previous generation of Israelites because of their rebellion. Repeatedly, he charges Israel to keep the law. Deuteronomy is a solemn call to love and obey the one true God. There are blessings for faithfulness and curses for unfaithfulness. The book closes with the selection of Joshua as Israel's new leader and the death of Moses. Let's begin. These are the words that Moses spoke to all Israel, beyond the Jordan in the wilderness, in the Arabah opposite Suf, between Paran and Tophel, Laban, Hazeroth, and Dizahab. It is 11 days' journey from Horeb by the way of Mount Seir to Kadesh Barnea. In the 40th year, on the first day of the 11th month, Moses spoke to the people of Israel, according to all that Yahweh had given him in commandment to them, after he had defeated Sihon, king of the Amorites, who lived in Heshbon, and Og, the king of Bashan, who lived in Ashtaroth and in Edrei. Beyond the Jordan, in the land of Moab, Moses undertook to explain this law, saying, Yahweh, our God, said to us in Horeb, You have stayed long enough at this mountain. Turn and take your journey and go to the hill country of the Amorites, and to all their neighbors in the Arabah, in the hill country, and in the lowland, and in the Negeb, and by the seacoast, the land of the Canaanites, and Lebanon, and as far as the great river, the river Euphrates. See, I have set the land before you. Go in and take possession of the land that Yahweh swore to your fathers, to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob, to give to them and to their offspring after them. At that time I said to you, I am not able to bear you by myself. Yahweh your God has multiplied you, and behold, you are today as numerous as the stars of heaven. May Yahweh, the God of your fathers, make you 1,000 times as many as you are, and bless you, as he has promised you. How can I bear by myself the weight and burden of you and your strife? Choose for your tribes wise, understanding, and experienced men, and I will appoint them as your heads. You answered me, The thing you have spoken is good for us to do. So I took the heads of your tribes, wise and experienced men, and set them as heads over you, commanders of 1,000, commanders of hundreds, commanders of 50s, commanders of 10s, and officers throughout your tribes. And I charged your judges at that time, hear the cases between your brothers, and judge righteously between a man and his brother, or the alien who is with him. You shall not be partial in judgment. You shall hear the small and the great alike, and you shall be intimidated. Rather, you shall not be intimidated by anyone. For the judgment is God's. In the case that is too hard for you, you shall bring to me, and I will hear it. And I commanded you at that time all the things that you should do. Then we set out from Horeb, and went through all that great and terrifying wilderness that you saw, on the way to the hill country of the Amorites, as Yahweh our God commanded us. And we came to Kadesh Barnea. And I said to you, You have come to the hill country of the Amorites, which Yahweh our God is giving us. See, Yahweh your God has set the land before you. Go up, take possession, as Yahweh, the God of your fathers, has told you. Do not fear or be dismayed. And all of you came near to me and said, Let us send men before us, that they may explore the land for us, and bring us word again of the way by which we must go up, and the cities into which we shall come. Things seemed good to me, and I took 12 men from you, one man from each tribe, And they turned and went up into the hill country, and came to the valley of Eshcol, and spied it out. And they took in their hand some of the fruit of the land, and brought it down to us, and brought us word, and said, It is a good land that Yahweh our God is giving us. Yet you would not go up, but rebelled against the command of Yahweh your God. And you murmured in your tents, and said, Because Yahweh hated us, he has brought us out of the land of Egypt, to give us into the hand of the Amorites, to destroy us. Where are we going up? Our brothers have made our hearts melt, saying, The people are greater and taller than we. The cities are great and fortified up to heaven, and besides, we have seen the son of the Anakim there. Then I said to you, Do not be in dread or afraid of them. Yahweh, your God, who goes before you, will himself fight for you, just as he did for you in Egypt before your eyes, and in the wilderness, where you have seen how Yahweh your God carried you, as a man carries his son, all the way that you went until you came to this place. Yet, in spite of this word, you did not believe Yahweh your God, who went before you in the way to seek you out a place to pitch your tents, in fire by night and in the cloud by day, to show you by what way you should go. And Yahweh heard your words and was angered, and he swore, Not one of these men of this evil generation shall see the good land that I swore to give to their fathers, except Caleb the son of Jephunneh. He shall see it, and to him and to his children I will give the land on which he has trodden, because he has wholly followed Yahweh. Even with me Yahweh was angry on your account, and said, You shall not go in there. Joshua, the son of Nun, who stands before you, he shall enter. Encourage him, for he shall cause Israel to inherit it. And as for your little ones, who you said will become a prey, and your children, who today have no knowledge of good or evil, they shall go in there, and to them I will give it, and they shall possess it. But as for you, turn and journey into the wilderness in the direction of the Red Sea. Then you answered me, We have sinned against Yahweh. We ourselves will go up and fight, just as Yahweh our God commanded us. And every one of you fastened on his weapons of war and thought it easy to go up into the hill country. And Yahweh said to me, Say to them, Do not go up or fight, for I am not in your midst, lest you be defeated before your enemies. So I spoke to you, you would not listen. But you rebelled against the command of Yahweh, and presumptuously went into the hill country. Then the Amorites who lived in that hill country came out against you, and chased you as bees do, and beat you down in Seir, as far as Hormah. And you returned and wept before Yahweh. But Yahweh did not listen to your voice or give ear to you. So you remained at Kadesh many days, the days that you remained there. And that's all the notes to here. Let's move on to Psalms 81 through 82. Sing aloud to God, our strength. Shout for joy to the God of Jacob. Raise a song, sound the tambourine, the sweet lyre with the harp. Blow the trumpet at the new moon, at the full moon, on our feast day. For it is a statute for Israel, a rule of the God of Jacob. He made it a decree in Joseph when he went out over the land of Egypt. I hear a language I had not known. I relieved your shoulder of the burden. Your hands were freed from the basket. In distress you called, and I delivered you. I answered you in the secret place of thunder. I tested you at the waters of Meribah. Hear, O my people, while I admonish you. O Israel, if you would but listen to me. There shall be no strange god among you. You shall not bow down to a foreign god. I am Yahweh, your God, who brought you up out of the land of Egypt. Open your mouth wide, and I will fill it. My people did not listen to my voice. Israel would not submit to me. So I gave them over to their stubborn hearts, to follow their own counsels. Oh, that my people would listen to me, that Israel would walk in my ways. I would soon subdue their enemies and turn my hand against their foes. Those who hate Yahweh would cringe toward him, and their fate would last forever. But he would feed you with the finest of the wheat, and with honey from the rock I would sustain you. Now, Psalm 82. God has taken his place in the divine council. In the midst of the gods, lowercase g, these rulers of the earth, he holds judgment. How long will you judge unjustly and show partiality to the wicked? Give justice to the weak and the fatherless. Maintain the right of the afflicted and the destitute. Rescue the weak and the needy. Deliver them from the hand of the wicked. They have neither knowledge nor understanding. They walk about in darkness. All the foundations of the earth are shaken. I said, you are gods, sons of the Most High, all of you. Nevertheless, like men, you shall die, and fall like any prince. Arise, O God, judge the earth, for you shall inherit all the nations. Now Isaiah 29. Ah, Ariel, Ariel, the city where David encamped. Add year to year. Let the feasts run their round. Yet I will distress Ariel, and there shall be moaning and lamentation, for she shall be to me like an Ariel, meaning it could mean lion of God or hero or altar hearth. Verse 3. And I will encamp against you all around, and will besiege you with towers, and I will raise siege works against you, and you will be brought low. From the earth you shall speak, and from the dust your speech will be bowed down. Your voice shall come from the ground like the voice of a ghost, and from the dust your speech shall whisper. But the multitude of your foreign foes shall be like small dust, and the multitude of the ruthless like passing chaff. And in an instant, suddenly, you will be visited by Yahweh of hosts, with thunder and earthquake and great noise, and with whirlwind and tempest, and the flame of a devouring fire. And the multitude of all the nations that fight against Ariel, all that fight against her and her stronghold and distress her, shall be like a dream, a vision of the night, as when a hungry man dreams, and behold, he is eating. It awakes with his hunger not satisfied. Or as when a thirsty man dreams, and behold, he is drinking. He awakes faint, with his thirst not quenched. So shall the multitude of all the nations be that fight against Mount Zion. Astonish yourselves and be astonished. Blind yourselves and be blind. Be drunk, but not with wine. Stagger, but not with strong drink. For Yahweh has poured out upon you a spirit of deep sleep, and has closed your eyes, the prophets, and has covered your heads, the seers. The vision of all this has become to you like the words of a book that is sealed. When men give it to one who can read, saying, read this, he says, I cannot, for it is sealed. When they give the book to one who cannot read, saying, read this, and he says, I cannot read. And the Lord said, because this people draw near with their mouth and honor me with their lips, while their hearts are far from me, and their fear of me is a commandment taught by men. Therefore, behold, I will again do wonderful things with this people, with wonder upon wonder. And the wisdom of their wise men shall perish, and the discernment of their discerning men shall be hidden. Ah, you who hide deep from Yahweh, your counsel, whose deeds are in the dark, and who say, who sees us? Who knows us? You turn things upside down. Shall the potter be regarded as the clay? The thing that is made should save its maker. He did not make me. Or the thing formed save him who formed it. He has no understanding. Yet is it not yet a very little while until Lebanon shall be turned into a fruitful field, and the fruitful field shall be regarded as a forest? In that day the deaf shall hear the words of a book, and out of their gloom and darkness the eyes of the blind shall see. The meek shall obtain fresh joy in Yahweh, and the poor among mankind shall exult in the Holy One of Israel. For the ruthless shall come to nothing, and the scoffer shall cease. And all who watch to do evil shall be cut off, who, by a word, make a man out to be an offender, and lay a snare for him who reproves in the gate. With an empty plea, turn aside him who is in the right. Therefore, thus says Yahweh, who redeemed Abraham, concerning the house of Jacob: Jacob shall no more be ashamed. No more shall his face grow pale. For when he sees his children, the work of my hands in his midst, they will sanctify my name. They will sanctify the Holy One of Jacob, and he will stand in awe of the God of Israel. Those who go astray in spirit will come to understanding. Those who murmur will accept instruction. Now, concluding today in 3 John. Let's read the introduction. 3 John supplements statements on Christian hospitality in 2 John. It applauds a Christian named Gaius for living out the teachings of the apostles. He had welcomed traveling Christian missionaries into his home, while he was commending Diotrephes, a selfish church leader who not only refused to help these itinerant, godly teachers, but also had slandered and opposed those who disagreed with him. This book demonstrates that pride can divide Christians if they are not living by God's word. To avoid the dual dangers of false teaching and division within the church, believers should practice the dual virtues of love and discernment. This letter was probably written by the Apostle John in the late 1st century AD. Let's begin. The elder, to the beloved Gaius, whom I love in truth. Beloved, I pray that all may go well with you, and that you may be in good health, as it goes well with your soul. For I rejoiced greatly when the brothers came and testified to your truth, as indeed you are walking in the truth. I have no greater joy than to hear that my children are walking in the truth. Beloved, it is a faithful thing that you do in all your efforts for these brothers, strangers as they are, who testified to your love before the church. You will do well to send them on their journey in a manner worthy of God. For they have gone out for the sake of the name, accepting nothing from the Gentiles. Therefore, we ought to support people like these, that we may be fellow workers for the truth. I have written something to the church, but Diotrephes, who likes to put himself first, does not acknowledge our authority. So, if I come, I will bring up what he is doing, talking wicked nonsense against us. And not content with that, he refuses to welcome the brothers, and also stops those who want to and puts them out of the church. Beloved, do not imitate evil, but imitate good. Whoever does good is from God. Whoever does evil has not seen God. Demetrius has received a good testimony from everyone, and from the truth itself. We also add our testimony, and you know that our testimony is true. I had much to write to you, but I would rather not write with pen and ink. I hope to see you soon. We will talk face to face. Peace be to you. The friends greet you. Greet the friends, each by name. That's all for today. That is all the reading and all of the notes. God willing, we'll be back tomorrow. Behold, word of the Lord.